Joe, it's Mike. I wanted to reply to your video where you explained your concerns regarding evolution and creationism. Thanks for taking the time to explain it to me. You've said this to me before. I guess I just wasn't listening. But now I've heard you and I understand. So again, thanks for taking the time to explain it to me. Yeah, I mean, once I realized what you were saying, understood what your concerns were, I began to wonder why this didn't concern me. And I think there's a number of reasons. First is personal experience. Up until undergrad school, I never encountered anybody who was a creationist. And I've seen, I would see them on TV, I would read about it, but I never met somebody personally. So my entire academic career up until some point in undergrad school in a physical anthropology class, when I met somebody who wasn't even from this country. He was a 40 or 50-something-year-old gentleman from India who was just doing some continuing education in the class, I guess, just for something to do. He may have been older, I don't know. That's my recollection. This was quite some time ago. So, I've never really encountered that. I mean, later in life, I did encounter creationists and people who clearly didn't understand evolution, Big Bang Theory, things like that. So, I don't know. It's just not all that prevalent in my experience. So I'm not as concerned. And like I had mentioned before, our courts seem to be doing a great job of keeping religion out of the science curriculum. So it just was never that big of a deal. The other reason why I'm not all that concerned, with that 70% number is, I know how people can work statistics. So depending on how you ask the question, how you phrase it, you can really manipulate the data quite a bit. So depending on who's actually commissioning the study and how unbiased they're actually trying to be, those numbers could be meaningless or not. So I don't know. The other thing too is, I think a lot of the resistance to the idea of evolution, aside from just the pure misunderstanding of it, but a lot of the problem is that people don't like the idea that they're descended from, they think of it as apes, or an ape-like creature is more proper. People don't like that idea. And I don't know that that's necessarily religious. So that's another reason why I'm not so concerned with religion and creationism. Because even if you got rid of the whole creationism idea, I'm not exactly sure how you do the mental gymnastics to not be descended from something or other. But people just don't like that idea. The whole idea of descent from whatever is distasteful to them. I think we're dealing with that whole idea of, the heliocentric, solar system. The Earth revolves around the sun, not the sun revolving around the Earth. I think that, there wasn't so much the friction with science, but the idea that, we're just not that important anymore. And maybe that's a religious idea too. I suppose so. In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. But the other thing too is, I think that science education in the United States is just really lousy. Up until you're about 12 or 13, you kind of get this general education. Then you go off to high school, and usually you're put into separate tracks there: the college-bound kids and the non-college-bound kids. And within the college-bound kids, they still, you can still kind of pick and choose. So even up to like age 18, it's very possible, and most people get a really lousy science education. But even at the college level, even university and colleges, if you're not a science or engineering major, you your science education is really crappy. I took a science class as an elective, as an engineering undergrad. Okay, and I needed an extra elective, and nothing really fit in the schedule. So I took this science class. It was science for the liberal arts majors, the non-science majors. It was a class that was designed to teach physics from a historical standpoint, to basically track the development of physics from the ancient Greeks all the way up to modern day. And it was a science class. So somebody who was, whatever, an English major or, whatever, could take this class, business major, whatever. And this would count as a science. And being an engineer, this, I had taken like I wasn't a chemistry major, so I took, chemistry for the engineering students, the general science track. I mean, this class was a joke. This science for non-science majors was a joke. I mean, the quantitative analysis was just nothing. I mean, I guess it was better. I guess it was better than not having any science at all. But if that's an example of the science classes, science education that college and university students who aren't science and engineering majors actually get, yeah, that's frightening. So that's not a religious issue, and doesn't even have anything to do with creationism. It's purely an education issue. So I think that's why I don't share your level of concern. It's something of a concern, but to me it's more of an education issue. And that's partially my motivation for this career change now, where I'm trying to get my science teacher's license. So there you go. Yeah, again, thanks for staying with me and repeating yourself, explaining yourself till I finally heard you. I do appreciate that, and thanks for watching.